welcome back to Cambridge House Live. I'm Vanessa Collette here at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, and we're joined by Mickey Fulp, the mercenary geologist. Welcome, Mickey. It's great to see you again.
It's likewise, Vanessa. Always my pleasure.
Now, Mickey, we just saw copper hit a 6-year low. And we know the supply factors of copper are very tight. I mean, the price was steady for about 40 years until there was a major supply issue in Indonesia. So what are we seeing now? Why did it hit a 6-year low? Did you see it coming?
Not especially for copper. It showed some weakness, but the drop to 260 last week was manipulation of the market by the Chinese, and so they came in overnight and started selling, drove it down, which then generates all the short covering during the middle of the night by the algorithmic traders. So you notice it popped right back up to 275.
Why would they want to do that? Why would the Chinese want to reprice it?
Because they had a bunch of, because they can make money doing it. You know, it's hedge funds doing this stuff. So, you know, all in all, the fundamentals of copper remain strong. We've seen supply disruptions. You know, there was a forecast for surplus this year. Now we've had less supply come on. So I don't think it's going to last very long.
Okay,
and
short-term pullback.
Yeah, at 275 copper, there's going to be production come off, and the cure for low prices is low prices.
Absolutely. Now, what's been happening with gold? It looks like it's been stabilizing a bit. It also looks like it's been at a really critical point where it could kind of go up or down, but I think it's holding up pretty well right now.
Well, I agree, and so we've been doing these correlation coefficients with the dollar index and gold for about the last 6 months, and what we've found is you would expect a very strong negative correlation. Now, what's happened over the last month since December 19th, and I'll have a piece coming out this week about this, is we see a positive correlation. And the last time that I know that happened was in January and February of 2009, as our industry led the way out of the global financial crisis. Right. So from that point of view, I am relatively bullish on gold at this point.
What do you think is behind the strength in the US dollar?
It's the lesser of all evils. So it is a fiat currency, but there is increasing, what's the word I want?
Demand for the safe haven?
Yeah, and also the euro's weak. The yen Abenomics has failed, so all these other currencies are relatively weak,
right.
and so it becomes a flight to safety, and that's what's going on now with the U.S. dollar and also gold, and it's been a while since we've seen that happen in both. Well, the world's reserve currency and right. Gold is money.
At the same time. It's very rare. We've seen the gold juniors outperforming gold a little bit. Is that also a bullish indicator for you?
Well, it certainly is, and we predicted, 11 of the last 12 years, now 12 of 13, you have that tax loss selling in mid-December, and then we see a bounce in late December and continuing into the new year. We saw that again this year. We predicted that. Those buying opportunities around December 15th were tremendous. And so now we would expect a recovery. Whether it has legs, I think, is a difficult question right now. We'd certainly usually think it will have legs until the PDAC in March. But we've been hit by these continued low commodity prices, especially oil and copper at this point.
So are we in a deflationary setting right now?
Well, I'm not an inflationist, deflationist type, so probably not a question to ask of me, but I think, yes, we're in a deflationary environment. I think that's pretty clear.
Seems to be affecting all commodities, maybe except for gold. What's the story with uranium right now?
Well, since we last talked a few months ago, we had a nice run up in uranium. It got to $44. Then it consolidated and backed off, trading about 37 right now. So the long-term, mid-term, long-term fundamentals remain strong.
Right.
We've got some catalysts coming with Japanese reactor restarts.
Right.
We saw a big merger in U.S. domestic uranium space, EFR taking out Uraners. I'm happy to say I was a shareholder of both, so I was
excellent.
rewarded handsomely on that
Right.
deal. And so I would look for a more bullish 2015 for uranium.
Right now we're seeing some of the reactors being restarted and a lot of nuclear plant contracts that are still underway. A lot of new plants are going to be built.
Well, yeah, so we got 71 nuclear power plants in construction right now.
71.
Yep, 71, and there's, I don't know, a couple of hundred that are proposed and on the books. So, demand remains very strong for the mid to long term. I mean, really the answer with the fact that carbon, even though it's 6 letters, has become a 4-letter word, uranium is the clean energy for the future. It is the
Right.
future, in my opinion, of baseload electricity
Right.
for the growing population
The
of the
trend
world.
really is cleaner energy. That's
Absolutely.
the direction we're going in. What have we been seeing with oil? Why do you think the oil prices had such a decline?
Well, basically, demand is off and U.S. production is up, and the Saudis decided that they wanted to flush out a few of the oil producers. Now, I am of the school. There's two trains of thought on this, that it's the Saudis trying to get rid of U.S. shale oil producers.
Right.
I'm probably more on the side of the Saudis and Americans in collusion trying to whittle Putin down to size. And this has hurt Russia extraordinarily. Look at the price of gold in Russian rubles.
ruble, yeah.
It's just gone exponential. So it's the Saudis and the Americans trying to protect the petrodollar and punish some of the rogue countries in the world: Iran, Iraq,
Right.
Syria, all Shia Muslims. The Saudis are Sunni Muslims, and then also Russia. Hurts Venezuela, which is looked on worldwide as a rogue country. So I think that's really the reason behind it.
How stable is the petrodollar?
Well, it looks pretty stable right now. We keep, there's always this thought the demise of the U.S. Dollar is the world's reserve currency,
Right.
but man, this is big boy football. U.S. is still the king on the block, and
Right.
and I think the world's reserve currency will remain the U.S. dollar, despite the attempts of countries like China and Russia to replace it with something else.
Now, Mickey, what are you doing with your investments?
Well, I've been picking away at some oil companies,
Okay.
went into a private placement in one of my favorite gold companies recently, and so I'm looking now that copper looks like it's a little bit down. I'm starting to look at some copper plays, trying to get involved in some new startup companies to accumulate distressed assets, those sorts of things.
Awesome. Well, Mickey, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today.
Thanks a lot, Vanessa.